Night settles over a small Balkan village tucked between mountains and a river that runs colder than memory. For years, Americans never heard this story, and maybe that was intentional. It begins with a disappearance, but it ends with something far more disturbing. The villagers still talk about the night 16-year-old Mira Kovacevic vanished on her walk home from choir practice. She took the same route she'd taken for years, a narrow gravel path that cut through the woods, lit only by the moon and the thin beam of her dying phone. When she didn't come home, her father searched for the path himself. He found only one thing: her choir sheet, half buried in mud, as if someone tried to grind it into the earth. For the village, this was enough to ignite the old stories. Whispers of the walker, a figure said to mimic the voice of a loved one and lure people into the forest. No one admitted to believing it, but everyone refused to walk in the woods at night. Fear is easier to deny than overcome. Local authorities arrived the next morning. Their search was slow, unmotivated, almost rehearsed. And beneath their half-hearted efforts, there was a strange tension, like they were avoiding something they knew too well. 3 days passed. Each day, more rumors. Children claimed to hear Mira singing from the forest. Some villagers said they saw a girl standing between the trees at dusk, watching them silently. Every witness described her the same way: pale, still, almost duplicated. By the 5th day, the village was unraveling. And that's when Mira walked back into the town square. Shoeless, mud-stained, eyes so wide they looked frozen. She said nothing. No one dared touch her. Her father ran to her, crying, gripping her shoulders, but Mira stood stiff as stone, as if she wasn't fully back. Doctors said she was dehydrated and traumatized. She refused to speak, even to her mother. Attempts to question her failed. She stared through people like she was watching a memory replaying behind them. Then came the twist. DNA results from dirt under her fingernails revealed something investigators had not expected. It belonged to a woman, but not Mira. Someone else had been with her. Someone she fought. Police reopened the forest search. They found a shallow depression in the ground, a failed grave. And beside it, clothing folded neatly on a piece of wood. Clothes that did not belong to Mira. The same day, Mira finally whispered her first words since returning. She looked like me, but she wasn't me. The room fell silent. Authorities dismissed it as trauma-induced hallucination. But her father remembered the village legends, the mimic in the forest. He didn't believe them until the next discovery. Behind the police station, a security camera caught someone walking behind the building at 3:14 a.m. A girl, same height as Mira, same hair, the same clothes Mira was wearing the night she disappeared. The only problem? Mira was asleep in her hospital bed at that exact moment. The police erased the footage within hours. They claimed it was corrupted and unusable, but a young officer leaked a still frame, and it spread quietly through the village before officials confiscated every copy. Rumor turned to panic, and then officials sealed the entire forest for environmental reasons. No one believed the excuse. Not after what happened next. Myra's mother found a note taped to their front door. 5 words written in mud. She is not done yet. Authorities blamed local kids. But there are no footprints, no fingerprints, no trace of anyone approaching the house. Whatever happened in those woods was not over. 2 weeks later, Mira left the village with her family and never returned. They refused all interviews. Their house stands abandoned, untouched, the windows still covered from inside. Some say the government kept the case quiet to avoid panic. Others think the villagers know more than they're willing to say. But the only person who truly knows is Mira, and she hasn't spoken publicly a single word. What makes this story more disturbing is the detail hidden in the final report, the one that never made it to the public. A single sentence at the bottom. No second set of footprints was found beside Myra's upon her return. As if whatever walked her home wasn't walking at all. And that is the part Americans were never meant to hear. After Mira and her family fled the village, the locals hoped the nightmare would dissolve into memory. But something else began to surface. Something older than Myra's story. Something carefully buried. A week after she vanished from the public eye, an unmarked black SUV drove into the village. Not the police, not government officials, men in plain clothes. They didn't ask questions. They confiscated the old forest ranger's logbooks, every camera trap along the trails, and even the village priest's handwritten burial records. By sunrise, they were gone. 2 days later, the ranger himself disappeared. His cabin stood unlocked, a pot still steaming on the stove. No sign of struggle, just one object left on his desk. A map of the forest with 3 circles drawn in red. Dates written beside them. 1994-2001-2017. 3 disappearances, 3 returns, 3 miris. The ranger had known. When a young teacher from a neighboring town heard about the SUV, she traveled to the village herself. She claimed she recognized Myra's behavior because the same thing happened to her sister in 2001. She brought a diary her sister wrote in the weeks after her return. Most entries were chaotic, but one sentence was repeated 13 times. The thing that came back is learning to be me. Her sister vanished shortly afterward. Nobody was ever found. The teacher tried to hand the diary to local authorities. They refused it, so she posted scans online. Authorities deleted them within hours, claiming copyright violations. No one believed that excuse. Meanwhile, in a remote Croatian hamlet 200 miles away, an elderly woman watching the news noticed Myra's face, or rather, the expression on her face. It matched a photograph of her own daughter taken in 1994, the day she returned from being missing for a week. The same empty stare, the same stiffness, the same silence. Her daughter wouldn't sleep inside the house after she came back. She slept on the porch, saying she didn't want the other one to find her. Then one morning, she was gone again. Only her dress remained, folded neatly on a wooden board, just like the clothes found near the false grave in Myra's forest. The elderly woman contacted Myra's father, who had quietly relocated across the border. They met in secret. She placed her daughter's photograph beside Myra's and whispered, "They don't come back the same, and they don't come back alone." Their stories reached a retired Serbian detective named Aleksandar Vukovic. Notorious for pursuing cases the government dismissed, he had investigated the 2017 disappearance, the one from the ranger's map. He revealed something chilling. In every case, days before each child returned, villagers reported hearing the missing child's voice calling from the forest, even though they were miles away, as if something was practicing their voice, perfecting it. But Aleksandar also uncovered a real-world pattern beneath the folklore, a pattern someone desperately wanted hidden. Children who returned always had the same rare soil compound under their nails, a mix found only in abandoned military bunkers across the region, bunkers sealed off after the Yugoslav wars. Whatever was happening wasn't supernatural. It was human-made, engineered, refined over decades. Aleksandar believed the mimic myth wasn't the cause, it was the cover. A convenient legend to bury something much darker. A psychological replication program abandoned after the war, or so officials claimed. Maybe it never stopped. Maybe someone kept it alive. The detective traced the soil compound to a decommissioned underground facility deep in the mountains. It was wiped clean, no fingerprints, no papers, no clues. But on the far wall, he found a single painted message, half faded. Only one gets to leave. He didn't sleep for 3 days. Then he reached out to Myra's family. He planned to expose everything. The cover-up, the tests, the missing children. They scheduled a meeting. He never arrived. His car was found upside down in a ravine. The official cause, driver fatigue. But the passenger seat held something investigators failed or refused to mention. A folded choir sheet, like the one Mira dropped the night she vanished. Back at her new home, Myra's parents tried to move on. But one night, while her father was locking up the house, Mira suddenly walked into the hallway. Her eyes were wide again, frozen like that first night she returned home. She whispered, "She found me." Her father tried to calm her, but she backed away, staring at the window. Don't open it. Please don't open it. He checked the curtains. Through the glass, faintly lit by the porch lamp, he saw a girl standing in the yard. Same height, same hair, the same clothes Mira wore the night she disappeared. Standing completely still, watching the house. When he blinked, she was gone. Mira begged her parents to leave the country entirely. They did. They moved again, changed their names. But the nightmares kept coming. She dreamed of walking through the forest, except she wasn't leading. She was being followed, and the thing behind her walked without sound, without breath, without body heat, like a shadow learning to cast itself. Last month, a hiker exploring the old Balkan forest posted a photograph online. A long-distance shot of a girl standing among the trees. Her posture is stiff. Her face was too pale. Her clothes are decades out of date. Within hours, the photo vanished. But not before someone zoomed in on the tree beside her. Scratched into the bark were 5 words. She never left the woods. As for Mira, she has vanished again. Authorities claim she's simply relocated. Her father says he still hears her voice at night, calling from outside the house. But he refuses to open the door. Because he knows something now. Sometimes the one who comes home isn't the one who left. And sometimes it comes back because it wants to bring someone else with it.